What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to Park to Prem in the future. I don't know if I can call this episode 90 or not, but we are here to have a look at the next chapter. Not about what happened to me. I've gone and chilled on a beach for a year since we were last here, but how Nottingham Forest have done. Today we are going to look forward at the first season after I departed the club, as well as 5 years into the future, and then following on from that, next episode we are going to look 10 years into the future, and then 25 years into the future to see, did the legacy I forged at Nottingham Forest last? Was it a house built on solid foundations? And I'm not checked what happened yet. I'm a little bit nervous and a little bit excited to see what happened. Of course, resigned as Nottingham Forest manager in 2036. 1 year later, what did Nottingham Forest achieve? And while looking at things here, they did win the league. They won it not quite by as many goals as we won it by. They only lost 2 games, though, against Arsenal and Liverpool away. And as you can see here, they played a 4-2-3-1. And Tarasov has a star next to his name. He has the most goals, the highest average rating, and the most assists. I mean, let me just, for the benefit of this, let's just sort this out real quick. He's not meant to be this good, everyone. He nearly got an 8.0. I really want to know what the hell they fed him. I mean, the fact he's top goal scorer with 12 goals seems really, really low for a team that did so well. Oh, wait, no, he didn't get 12 goals. He got 27 goals. He got 12 in the league. Ah, okay, that makes sense. What else did he get goals in then? I'm a little bit confused. It says he's got 16 goals here, but then it says he's got 27 here. Maybe I couldn't see the Champions League actually listed here. For some reason, the Champions League isn't listed. I guess he got a load of goals in the Champions League as well. I'm a little bit nervous. If that's a sign of things to come, what the hell else has happened since I mean, Tarasov is the best player, and I don't know how to feel. Although David Lind is considered the key player. He got a 7.72 rating, and he's got 77 caps and 7 goals. Lots of 7s on show is the current trend. Matias Almeida remained manager for the whole year, and I think they've won the Champions League. This is going to be very embarrassing. They drew against Tottenham and won the FA Cup final on penalties, and they won the Champions League final against who else but Manchester United? Wait, so a year... I don't believe this. A year after I bottled it, a year after I fluffed it up, the exact same final happened, and this time they won it. How should I feel? Can we watch the goals for this game? I don't know if I'm going to be able to because the game has been on holiday for a long time. I want to see the goals. I don't think I can see the goals. Can I? No, I can't. But 3-1. Ballo Devayo, Tarasov with the goals. This is the team that United led with. This is the team that Nottingham Forest played with. I feel like a mug, everyone. I feel they've won a Champions League the year after I left. Maybe I was holding back this team. Who else were the top performers? Adebayo got 25 goals. Edison got 21 goals. In terms of assists, it was actually a 3-way tie on 15 assists between Devayo, Lind and Tarasov. Largo got double figures for both, and while looking at the number of matches that some teams played, they did not rotate things in the first year after I left. They did not swap things around. You can see here, Adebayo got top goal scorer, and he looks just absolutely insane. Now, of course, prior to attending the kind of match last episode in our season recap, which if you missed, we did have a little look at things. We attended the first ever game at Brianclough Park, which was pretty cool. We did have a look at the transfer history, but I am curious to see if any more dealings happened. They did sign a couple of players. Volter, I don't know how to say his name, Philip, we had already signed him for the club years ago. He looks pretty good at 18. Interested to see how he might develop over the course of the future. And the only other addition they signed was Alvarez, who I'm going to assume was their left back. I say that, they spent £45 million on him, and he played 5 matches in all competitions. So, it was basically the same team that I had, minus Urk, that won a Champions League, and minus Piotr, which is a slightly less big miss. I mean, I suppose I will credit myself with all the young players that are developed and kind of reached a point now where they could play for the team. Obviously, Edison, Adebayo right up there in terms of ratings. Devayo had a really good year, 15 goals and 15 assists. We never really got those numbers out of him on the left-hand side. We got close, to be fair, but not in terms of average rating. He looks like he was a different beast at centre attacking mid. I mean, all in all, I'm impressed. I do feel a little bit embarrassed, which I think it's probably to be expected, to be honest. We saw that they won the FA Cup and the Champions League, and they won the Premier League. Did they win the Carabao Cup? No, they lost the final of that on penalties. And then in the kind of start of season stuff, they did win the Community Shield. So they won more silverware, I think, than I ever won with them. And I'm going to be honest, Almeida might well be coming for my crown as a club legend and dislodging me off the top of this list. Just looking at things 1 year on, I've noticed already a couple of players here. Tarasov is now an icon. How should I feel? Largo's appeared, though, as well. And Adrian Smith is also listed as an icon. Apparently he's requested to leave the club. Are times really that bad without me, Adrian? I suppose they must be. Elsewhere, you can see here a whole host of players. I think there's a few more names on here than there were previously. Matias Almeida is already considered a favoured personnel. He's really coming for me, isn't he? He is probably going to come for my crown and steal it. They gave me the keys to the city when I left the club. They're probably going to be asking for them back in Nottingham after this. I don't know how to feel. But they've done well. They've not done badly. We should be happy for Nottingham Forest. I'm now scared to go forward 5 years in the future. 4 more years on from this to 2041. If they've won more Champions Leagues, I'm going to have my head in my hands. Let's go find out. I feel embarrassed. Okay, gang, it's 2041. Almeida's still manager, and the first thing that jumps out at me is the fact that the stadium capacity has been increased. The next thing that jumps out at me is they didn't win the league. 84 points. Pathetic. You can see here, they've won it every other year for the last 4 years. But this year, 5 years after I've left, they've not won the Premier League. And you know why that is? It's because all the players that I signed have probably been sold. Where do we begin? Do we want to look at transfers or do we want to look at what they've won? Let's look at transfers. So, last time we were here, it was 2037, right? This was the year? Which year was it? It was not that year. This was the year. So they signed a few players. They signed Aldo from West Ham for a lot of money, for 80 million. I mean, that is still quite a lot of money, isn't it? And now he's going back to Atletico, or he's going to Atletico Madrid. Have they sold him? Nope, he's going on a free. You spent £80 million the first summer after I left on this. I don't know how to... I mean, it's not great transfer business. They also bought Alex Vaughan, who is also no longer at the club. And they also bought Penna, who is also no longer at the club. All of these players have been signed for a lot of money and then sold very promptly afterwards for significantly less. Besides Irk, did they let anyone else go just after the January bit? Doesn't look like it. So let's have a look at this. This is 37-38. They made 3 new signings. They signed Jacobo from Real Madrid for 148 million. You didn't. 148 million on this. I mean, with respect, he played 8 games in his first season in charge. His average ratings are good, but he's just surrounded by a team of superstars. They also signed a couple of other players. 248 million spent. Oh my... 531 million pounds sold in players. Who have you let go? Ballo went straight away for 107 million to Real Madrid, where he's still playing for them. He looks just insane, doesn't he? Luis Navio has gone to Nantes for 71 million. They must have had like a tycoon takeover or something. There is no way that they'd ever be able to afford that. They did have a tycoon takeover. Have they won Liga? They have won Liga. It's the first time they've ever won it. Navio helped. I'm certain of it. Okay, we'll get onto this. Adebayo is listed as their key player. We'll get on. That's a future transfer, I guess, that we're going to stumble across. Gallardo went to Chelsea. Don't disagree with that one. Gonzalez sold to PSG for 61 million. He didn't do that great, to be fair to him. Friday went to Dortmund. Adrian Smith. They're just selling the heart of the club here. I mean, loads of players being sold for a lot of money. Dortmund got a couple of them. They also got in Ronaldo Ramirez, who I really rate Ronaldo Ramirez. I think he's really good, and he's got a 7.42 rating. So apparently he is quite good as well. Ivo Stupa's the Dutch kind of centre-back we signed for £23 million when he was like 16. He's been sold for 30 million and is now really solid for Atleti. naturally, with this, I am going to miss some players. It's worth noting that the save game at the point that I finished the series is available for Patreon supporters of the first team player tier and above. The next Friday, if you're watching this, the Friday, it will be the 14th, I think, the 14th of May. That unlocks for everyone. When that goes live, I'm also going to update it with the in the future save game files. Obviously, I've only just been holidaying forward, so I'm sure you guys will load up the save games and spot stuff that I miss. But what I'm seeing here, I mean, you can't see it. I've got my head in my hands. I feel a bit distraught. So what happened the next year? Well, that was the big fire sale year. They sold £51 million. The next year, they bought a man from they bought a man for 206 million from Arsenal, Charles. Is he any good? He played one game this season. They signed him for 206 million and he played one game. How should I feel? This is also the year where they let Adebayo go for 102 million. Wow, that is a huge transfer. He's nuts. I wonder if he won anything. He must have won a Ballon d'Or with attributes like that. We'll have a look at the awards in a second because the biography screen is not a very user-friendly screen. Benavides went to Barcelona. A few other players went as well, but it seems like it's not a huge turnover in players. At least at this point, it's still a lot of our own squad. The next year, they only spent 9 million on players because why would you spend more than that? Sold 174 million. How much money have they made selling players here? Bill Summers left for 58 million to Dortmund. He's got 18 caps for England and 7 goals now at 26. They sold him for 58 million. To be fair, he's not done that well. So maybe that was a good sale. Piscione also left to go to Real Madrid. He's 33 now, so he's past his best. A few other players left. Fabio Correa being sold for 16 million. That seems mad to me. Correa's a really good centre-back. I mean, I'm really curious now. We've got one more kind of year to go forward to. How many other players have they signed and sold? Okay, so this year they spent 157 million. Moha was the big player they signed for 79 million. To be fair, he's done quite well. That might be the first transfer we've checked so far where I look at it and go, that was a good bit of business. They did spend 79 million that could rise to 108 million on him. On the outs, Ionu was sold for 65 million. Tell you what, Ionu didn't really change much as a player. Were they playing him often after I left? Not really. Obviously, we had that year where we loaned him to Arsenal. That was our last year. But from there, he's kind of been a fringe player. Although when he's played, he's done quite well. Okay, well, that's the transfers that they did. I feel mixed, shall we say, on what I've seen. What I'm really curious to look at now is their actual squad and how much of it we recognise 5 years on. Obviously, this is the team that hasn't won the Premier League for the first time ever. I'm looking at it. So many of these players are still my players. It's kind of funny. Danny Dyer is still in goal, aged 35. He's done pretty well over the years. 24 clean sheets a few years ago. That's probably a Premier League record. Sampaio is still chilling out at right back. At centre back, they've got De Volder in there, who's just not changed as a player. And also Twardzik has developed quite nicely, which is cool to see. He was a player really on the fringes of the team as we left. He's developed into a role. Alvarez, who we saw they signed the very first window, he didn't play a lot then. It looks like he's become more of a regular first-team player as of late. In the centre of midfield, they've got David Linden. They've got Barreto. Now, Barreto was a player I signed, I think, in the last January before I left. I'm curious how good he is because he looked really special. And wow, okay, he's blooming good. 23 years old. I mean, yeah, a pretty good successor to Largo, who I'm going to assume has retired. No, he's on the bench, everyone. He's 33 years old now, 104 caps for Argentina. I'm going to assume he's retired from international football. Still played almost every single league game this year, which age 33 is pretty impressive. Edison is out on the right-hand side. He is just one of the best right attacking midfielders, I imagine, in the universe of this save game. We already saw, but Moha has played down the middle this year. He was the big signing from Man City. And Devio, who is also 33 and getting on a little bit, has been playing out on the left wing with Jacobo, that guy who's the striker, playing most games up front. They signed him for 148 million. He's not a 148 million pound player. You can see here, Edison has 25 goals. That is a record. Tarasov is still kicking around, aged 33. He had a 22-goal season, everyone. He had a season where he got 11 player of the matches in 35 games. What was the manager doing with him? That's what I would like to know. Because whatever he was doing with him, I definitely wasn't doing the same thing. What does strike me, though, is it's a very old team. So compared to the team that I had, it's very old. It's as if all the players have grown up with the club, which feels a little weird to be saying. I did also spy a wild Hamada here. He's still at the club, everyone, although he could be about to leave. He's had a handful of appearances here and there. His average ratings, not so impressive, the Syrian goalkeeper. 121 caps, though. He could get to 200 caps, the rate he's going. I'm sure there's some other players here that you guys are spotting who are some of my lads, as I will claim to say. But as we already acknowledged, they didn't win the Premier League, although it seems like they've won it every previous year. So it's with a little bit of nerves here that we now check the Champions League, where the holders are Arsenal, and it actually looks like they've not won it since. They haven't. Okay, they've not even made a final since that first year after we left, where they got some revenge. So they won it 2 out of 3 years, and since then, I mean, United have won it twice and come runner-up. They almost won it 3 times in a row. Of course, United, the team who have just won the Premier League for the first time. So Forest still competing with United, but it does seem like they might be falling a little off the pace with an older squad. But Arsenal coming out of nowhere to win the Champions League is absolutely nutty. They finished 3rd in the league. You can see here, they have not finished higher than 3rd as of late. So for them to win the Champions League with Henry as their manager, that's pretty cool. I'll give it to them. That is pretty cool. Shall we have a look at the trophy cabinet here at the club? If we go to history competitions, there's probably a better way of looking at this. Maybe overview. So they've won 4 Champions Leagues now. They've only won the one Club World Cup. That was the one, obviously, that we won. Not won another Europa League. They did, I think, win a Super Cup. In terms of FA Cups, how many have they won as of late? They didn't win any until... Actually, no. Was that one that we won? No, we didn't win that one, did we? And that was the first year after I left. But they have just won it for 40, 41. How about Carabao Cups, the EFL Cup? They've won that kind of sporadically, nowhere near with the consistency we did once upon a time where we were just winning it every other year. But they're seeing success, this Nottingham Forest team. It's not completely falling apart. I do wonder how much of this current situation is kind of built off the back of what I achieved at the club. If we look at the best 11, I'm going to assume there's going to be some updates to numbers and the players here. Tarasov up front makes me feel a bit funny. Poyana, I didn't spot you leaving. You're still at the club. 29 years old. He still kind of looks the exact same as the day that we left him. Edison is in the best 11 out on the right. DeVio and Largo at centre mid with Lind in behind. Wow. I feel like Lind's improved. Am I going crazy? I feel like he was better than when we looked at him 4 years ago. Oh my word. The average ratings for Lind are absolutely insane. He has put in a shift. 7.84 rating, 7.90 rating for a centre mid. That is absolutely insane. You can see here on the bench a few other players like who he's still at Barcelona, signed for 137 million. He's done quite well over the years as Kursat for Barcelona. He almost looks better than I remember him being. Maybe that's just because he's in Barcelona colours now, so I have a different lens that I'm viewing him through. But he does look really, really solid, I feel like compared to some of the transfers we saw Nottingham Forest make, that probably is £137 million well spent. Elsewhere, Adrian Smith is 35 years old and playing for Leeds United. He's moved around a little bit, was signed by West Ham for 48 million, left to join Leeds on a free. Wilson Samake, he's retired, everyone. I don't know what I was expecting there. And Gonzalez, he's in the process of moving to Nantes, where he's gonna re-link up with Adebayo, which is very exciting for him. Which, speaking of which, here is Adebayo. We obviously said earlier we'd have a look at the Ballon d'Or stuff. Let's go to World Award winners. Who's won what when it comes to the Ballon d'Or? This is what matters. I mean, a Nottingham Forest player has won a Ballon d'Or. If you had Tarasov down on your prediction chart as being the club legend after I left and the best player in the world, well done, you've won. I don't think anyone predicted that. He's a weird player. We obviously only had him for one season, so I didn't change him around a great deal, but he's been pretty good for them. Just wonder if we had any runners-up here. It doesn't look like we did over these years. Largo came 3rd place in 2038. Adebayo then won it. Was that whilst he was playing for Nantes? Yeah, it was. He won it whilst he was playing for Nantes. He got 22 goals in 33 games. 12 player of the matches. His numbers in Ligue 1 are absolutely insane. 17 assists and 15 goals in 35 games. Okay, then. Okay. And Tarasov actually finished second this year. So even though he's 32, he's not given up on winning a second Ballon d'Or. I'm kind of relieved he hasn't won it. Otherwise, I don't know what I'd be doing. In terms of the best 11 for this year, Tarasov, Largo, Lind, De Volder, Dyer, all in the starting 11. I imagine that Nottingham Forest, through sustained success after we've left the club, their reputation has climbed more and more and more, helping these players win awards. I feel like we weren't quite at that critical point where our players' kind of achievements were recognised in the same lens they would have been if our rep was, that of one of the best teams in the world. If we just flick through the years here, you can see Edison popped in, David Lind again in the world best 11 at centre mid. He's still there again alongside Largo. I do wonder if he's been playing centre attack in mid. You can see here, Ballo got in actually playing for Real Madrid. Obviously signed for 107 million, followed in Erk's footsteps over to Spain and has done really, really well for them. I mean, seeing Adebayo and Ballo, the two Germans, playing for two clubs and just absolutely dominating world football, but not in Nottingham Forest colours, it does sting a little bit. It does hurt. I can't pretend. And the worst thing is, Almeida is still manager, and that means he's probably going to be catching me up as a legend and stuff. You can see here, Tarasov is now a legend. Really, really happy for him. Almeida, actually, interestingly enough, is still only in favoured personnel. Elsewhere, De Vaio has climbed up alongside Danny Dyer and Poyana into icons. Adrian Smith, Edison and Lind also in icons. We've got a whole host of icons at the club. And Largo. Did I say Largo? I didn't say Largo. He's there too. And some new favoured personnel. Lots of familiar names poking through. Where is Piotr right now? He's 32. He's playing for Spurs. Poor guy. That's all that he's stuck at Spurs. A fate worse than death, some would argue. You can see here, there is now a competitive rivalry with Chelsea as well as United. So that's cool to see the dynamic rivalries kicking in. Also, looks like there's a FIFA Club World Cup going on this summer. Of course, in the next episode where we go forward another 5 years and then following on from that 15 further years, we will keep a close eye on, future tournament wins. Who knows? Maybe they could win another Club World Cup. I feel like that's the one thing I have over Almeida right now, so I'd quite like to keep hold of that if possible. They've also got Daniel Sturridge, who might be joining Arsenal. What's Peter Crouch? I need to check what Peter Crouch is doing. Danny Sturridge is a scout at Forest. I don't think he was a scout while we were there. Peter Crouch is assistant manager at Wolverhampton Wanderers. He was assistant manager at Arsenal for 3 years. I hope Wolves treat you better than Arsenal did, Peter. He actually looks like quite a good assistant manager all of a sudden. Think about how he looked when we first approached him and he was a bit of a meme playing for Lincoln. And then look at him now. He's grown. Anyway, we have gone further forward into the future. Just have a really quick look at Lincoln and Boston. Obviously, they are teams that have long lost the identities they had whilst we were manager. Looking at things for Lincoln, they actually got back to the championship. They have just finished 21st, which is safe, right? 1 spot above the drop, if I'm not mistaken. Indeed it is. You can see here they finished 6 points ahead of Hull, AFC Wimbledon and Walsall. I'm not seeing Boston United. Where are they? Boston, where are you? If they're still in League 2, I'm going to be a bit disappointed. They're still in League 2. They were 1 point off the playoffs, though. If we just look at their history, they're actually relegated down to the National League. And they've got promoted back. I mean, as long as they don't go back to the National League, of course, you can see here that 15th place. Was that our first season in charge? I think that was. That was our first season in charge then. So we're getting to the point in the future where the charts are going to start to lose what we achieved at clubs over the years. But yeah, they peaked in the Championship. They've been down back outside of League 2, but mercifully, they have been promoted back to the Football League. Are we like a legend or anything still at these clubs? I mean, Boston just don't pretend we don't exist. What about Lincoln? Are we still here anywhere? Were we ever here? I can't really remember, but I'm not. So if they've forgotten about me. They forgot. That is the sobering thought here. As I sit here, aging and getting older in this Football Manager universe, going forward in time, the world of football is forgetting me. And well, I'd like to think Forest haven't forgotten about me at the very least. Anyway, gang, that's going to wrap up today's episode from me. We will be back in a couple of days with another In the Future video. I hope you have enjoyed this look through. If you spotted anything that I maybe missed, feel free to get it down in the comments. Let the people know. Additionally, it goes without saying, as I mentioned halfway through the video, the save games are available for patrons. They're available next Friday for everyone else. And when those save files go active, I will also include some of the In the Future save game stuff. So if you want to scour through this universe 5 years on from me, maybe you'll unearth further things that are going to cause me misery that I've missed. That it'll be available soon. Anyway, guys, that's going to be all from me today. Appreciate the love. You guys are absolute heroes. I hope you've been enjoying Win One Take One over on the channel. If you've not been watching it and you've somehow got to the end of this and you're craving more of my voice, we've only got one more Park to Prem video. I will have some updates on what's to come on the channel sometime next week, so keep your eyes open from that. And well, other than that, that's all from me today. It is me, Jack. Thank you for watching. This video ended up being longer than I expected it to be. I expect the next video is going to be more of the same. I'll see you guys then. I'm out.